back in the truck. I kind of like it here, so I'm probably going to end up doing a lot of my videos Fierstein style. Except for, I know how to hold a fucking camera. What? I mean, if you're going to look at yourself and you need to use the front-facing camera, landscape mode, nigga, it exists. What? Anyway, so I've been hearing a lot of, as I said in my last video, no true Scotsman fallacies. And I think it's important to say this. No one person does, in fact, represent an entire movement. However, that one person does, in fact, represent the results of that movement. A single person driven to the point of losing self-control, driven to an extremist ideology, or even driven to murdering people, is in fact representative of an entire movement. It is. They are. They are the end result of what happens when you spout an extremist ideology. We recently had the shooting over at the Planned Parenthood, where some fucking crazy nut job went off to a Planned Parenthood with the intent of killing people. That's what his job was. That's why he was there. He showed up. He managed to kill a woman who was only there because the services provided allowed her to be able to have the prenatal care necessary to make sure that her child was going to survive birth. He managed to kill a police officer who is anti-abortion, but showed up to protect other people being attacked by another anti-choice activist. You can't say that this man was not influenced in any way by the anti-choice movement. He very much clearly was. I read a lot of the time, oh, well, there was just one mumbled statement about baby parts. But where did that statement come from? Where did it actually originate from? He didn't think that up on his own. There's no way that he thought on his own, oh, Planned Parenthood is selling baby parts. No, that was all based off of a falsified, super edited video. I've seen the entire exchange that happened that day. Well, that's kind of dishonest. I haven't seen the entire exchange because it was never uploaded to the internet. But I did see large amounts of the unedited video. The parts where the Planned Parenthood representative was saying, no, we don't do this for a profit. Oh, well, how much are you going to take for it? Well, we need $25. Oh, well, how's $100? No, we don't do this for a profit. We're not in this to make money. The only reason that we do this is because these are, on the very, very, very rare occasion, a partially formed fetus. And that's very rare. Most abortions occur at the blastocyst stage at the latest. Some at true zygote. I mean, you're a ball of cells. What the fuck? Very rarely they'll have a medical complication that requires a late-term abortion. And yes, Planned Parenthood will ship those required parts for medical research to different organizations across the United States. And they do it at cost. They do it with the consent of the woman having an abortion. They actually have to hire specialized individuals show up and say, hey, I know this is a hard time for you. I know you're going through some things right now, but would you consider possibly saving other lives by donating to the cause of science, to the cause of research, in order for us to be able to prevent medical problems in the future? But that was super fucking cut up and edited to the point where an insane person was convinced. I'll say convinced, because it's a bit more than convention. That takes what's needed to show up and murder people. It takes the lies to convince someone to do something so fucking horrible. And then we have other situations where we have the no true Scotsman fallacy, or we have the non-representative. This person's not representative of this group. Such as the young woman at Yale, whose name I will not say because I don't want to have anyone harassed. I don't want someone to be fucking chased down and fucking cornered in a fucking street or something, or harassed online. But the young woman who was on the hiring board of an administrator, who she yelled, "Who the fuck hired you? You hired him." And that's beside the point. To say that she's not representative of the social justice movement on United States campuses today is just ridiculous. She is. She's absolutely representative. She's not representative of the system as a whole, but she is representative of what comes from that system. Everyone is. You are always representative of the group that you affiliate yourself with. The Black Lives Matter protesters that cornered 3 dudes, one of whom was carrying a sign that said Black Lives Matter, and decided that they were somehow white supremacists because they were asking people, don't hide your identity. If you're going to be out here fighting for a cause, take your mask off. Let us know who you are. Add your voice. Take responsibility for what you're doing. And they decided these people were white supremacists, backed them up against a fence, started chasing them after they tried to leave. And then everything was reported as white supremacists shoot up Black Lives Matter. That's not what happened. It's very easy to pull up the video evidence that refutes that claim. But those people are representative of Black Lives Matter. When you hold a label, when you put yourself into a movement, you are a representative. When you make your decisions based off of a rhetoric, you are a representative. You are, in fact, one of the many end results of whatever faction you are in. For every one person that does something fucking stupid, there's 1,000 inspired by the same rhetoric, by the same ideologies, that do nothing. And then there's 1,000,000 on top of that who would disagree with the actions of those that do things in the name of their movement. There's a huge problem. Those millions, you don't speak up. You don't do it. You don't. You stand to the side and you say, well, that person doesn't represent me, so I'm not responsible. No, you're fucking responsible. You are absolutely responsible for that person's actions. You are. The rhetoric pushed forth by your group, the ideologies that are held above all else, these are the things that cause radicalism. These are the things that cause people to go out and yell and scream with no actual backing. These are the things that cause news outlets to completely misreport something. These are the things that cause all of the outrage that people speak up against. These are why people completely discount entire movements. Why they say, yeah, well, you have a point, but your followers are the kind of assholes. They're a little bit of a dick. I don't know how else to say this, but they're fucking crazy. They're fucking insane. And your rhetoric is what has caused that insanity. The fact that you don't step in and stomp these people out. The fact that you don't approach these people before they go fucking crazy. Before they start yelling and screaming in the middle of a public square to a person who's trying to have a civil conversation with them. To the point where they take into their own hands the lives of others. Which makes sense. That makes sense to me. If you think that there's people murdering others by the thousands, then yeah, it's your moral obligation to stop those murders in any way that you can. But when that rhetoric is fed on lies, or it's fed on an inability for the silent majority to stand forward and say, this is not how we do things, that's your fault. They're representative of you. They are you. They just happen to be you with a little bit more crazy. You want people to take you seriously? Try this. Stand up. Speak out. Scream them down if you need to. But above all, accept the fact that you and those like you may very well be the cause of the problem. Some does something horrible in your name, you step up. You root out the exact reason that person did that thing. Whether it's a falsified fucking video or it's just an extremist propaganda. You can't sit back and say, well, that's not a true Scotsman. He puts sugar in his porridge. You can't stand back and say, well, that's not really a pro-lifer because he killed people, and pro-lifers don't believe in killing people, when you know for a fact that the reason he did so was an attempt to prevent further killings. You can't stand back and say, well, this young woman does not represent the social justice movement within universities, when I can pull up at least 6 other examples of the same exact thing. The people in your movement are your responsibility. And until you take care of them, until you take out the bad apples, until you kick out the rotten seeds, nobody's going to take you seriously. Nobody. Keep that in mind. Keep thinking. Keep speaking. And most of all, remember, they are your problem. They are what is destroying you. And the more you let them go unchecked, the less anybody will listen. Talking Wallflower out.